So whose gifts, whose talent and passion, presence do you need right now to be the person God created you to be? And what gifts, what talent and passion do you bring that we as church need right now to be the church that Christ calls us to be? Okay, so it's pop quiz time. Pop quiz time. I'm going to read a little portion of something, and we'll see if anybody knows what it is and who wrote it, okay? Were you paying attention in English Lit class? Perchance, he for whom this bell tolls may be so ill that he knows not it tolls for him. And perchance I may think myself so much better than I am than they that are about me, and see my state may have caused it to toll for me, and I know not that. The church is Catholic, universal, and so are all her actions. All that she does belongs to all. When she baptizes a child, that action concerns me, for that child is thereby connected to that head which is my head too, and engrafted into that body whereof I am a member. And when she buries a man, that action concerns me. Any guesses? Oh, I heard it. John Donne, okay. So if I were instead to read this, it might be a little easier. It goes on for a bit. He talks about nuns and monks and ringing to prayer and who gets to go to prayer first. And then it goes on to say this. No man is an island entirely of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never send to know for whom the bell tolls. See, you've heard it. You've heard it. It's by John Donne. So if you didn't take English Lit as an art student, this is the post-it note version of his biography. He was a poet and a soldier and a recusant, which means that he started out life as Catholic in the late Elizabethan period, and then he became a priest and all kinds of things in between. And he wrote this meditation. It's Meditation 17 is the actual title. But he wrote it as he was recovering from an illness. And he's reflecting on his own mortality, but I think more importantly, he's reflecting on the interconnectedness of life, that we need one another, that what we do affects others, that we are connected on a deep level. To quote another saint of blessed memory, that my humanity is bound up in yours. We can only be human together. And Paul is saying much the same thing. Now, he's not saying it in the same words. I love Paul, and I love the letter to the Corinthians, because Paul is not writing a letter that's sort of doctrine and theory, and it's all kind of up here with no actual connection to a lived experience. Paul is writing a letter to a community about the way they've been behaving. It's like church. Well, it is church. And Paul's letter to the Corinthians has three kind of ways of being. Paul writes in three different ways. He starts really by goes back and forth between saying how much he loves them. And then we get the bit I think is very similar to what we heard today, which is he's making a point about their connectedness, but there's an edge to it. And then in the rest of the letter, he's basically just telling them off. I thank God I baptized none of you. Because they're fighting. They've forgotten that they need each other. They've forgotten that to be the church of Christ takes all of them. That they are connected. And they're elevating some people above others. They're bickering and arguing about who follows which disciple, and they're making a mockery of the Eucharist. But underneath it all, they've forgotten that they need one another. So whose gifts do you need today to be the person God created you to be? And which gifts of your many gifts do we need to be the church Christ calls us to be? It's easy, I think, to forget how much we need each other. Because we live in a culture where the thing that's held up as the greatest value, the dominant story, the best way to be, is to be self-made, right? The self-made person. But it's a lie. No one is self-made. By biology, no one is self-made. But we are who we are because of our parents, experiences we had growing up in life. We are who we are because of the things that happened to us and the people God has placed in our life, the love we were shown, the love we were not shown. We are who we are because of the things we've gone through and the people we've encountered and the times where we were hurt and the times where we were supported. We are who we are because of the times we hurt others and the times we were forgiven. No one is self-made. We need each other. We need each other. In this messy, complicated, real life in which our church and our world are in the realness of life, which is messy, we need each other. We need each other's gifts. So what gift do you need? What gift do you need to be the person God has created you to be? And what gift do you bring so that we can be the church that Christ calls us to be? Paul knew that. Paul's reminding them of that in this lovely way. John Donne knew that. And John Donne is reminding his community. And we know that too. We need each other. Because no person is an island. And thank goodness. So whose gift, whose passion, whose energy, whose kick in the pants, whose gift do you need today to be that person God created you to be? And what are the gifts you bring so that we can be the church that Christ calls us to be? Amen.